You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton, hanging out with you guys here on a beautiful, Thursday evening. We just got done cutting grass. We just got done for the week, and we are rocking and rolling into the weekend. Actually, that's just when the fun begins for me with creating more content for you guys for the podcast, creating more content for you guys for YouTube. I do a lot of my, editing and social media stuff on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's the time for me to get organized for the week upcoming to make sure that I have content for you guys, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Normally, we used to do landscaping and lawn care on Friday, but then we just kind of scaled back a little bit to 4 days a week, and it's just given us the opportunity to kind of manage both businesses. But man, it's a beautiful week up here in Michigan. Just a little snapshot. It's been like 70, 75 degrees every single day. The lawns are green. The lawns are lush. Haven't gotten really a lot of rain the last 2 weeks, but at the end of the day, the lawns are looking super nice. We're dropping the deck down about another quarter inch. We're mowing at like 2.75, maybe 3 inches, and the grass is starting to slow down. It's actually pretty exciting. You got that like kind of cold feeling in the air where actually all next week I saw it's going to be in the 50s and 60s, and a couple more rain showers that'll be passing through. So just a beautiful time of the year. Fall is upon us, and it's exciting because you're starting to see the tips of the trees start to turn. And up here in Michigan, we get the all 4 seasons. Usually, one of the jokes is you get 2 seasons: construction season and winter, right? But the funny part is we're starting to get fall up here. It's been a beautiful fall so far. I'm hoping that we have a warm fall, something that we can make some extra money on, do a bunch more leaf cleanups. I've got a bunch of postcards on order to pass out flyers and pass out postcards to drum up more business. We took a hit in March, April this year, so I'm looking to make that up with fall aerations and fall cleanups and see if we can pad the bank account a little bit more. So here's what I want to talk about on today's podcast. We're going to be talking about reasons or excuses. This is a topic that I have been thinking about for a couple weeks now, and by the time that we're done with this one, I might fire you up. I might challenge you a little bit, might get in your face a little bit. But all in love, just to be honest with you guys. I want to talk about some personal stories, some practical stories here about, is there a reason to do something, or are they just going to be excuses? It's going to be a really fun, kind of a quicker episode here. I know every time I say it's going to be a quick episode, it always ends up being an hour. I don't know if that's code for, oh boy, strap in, get the seatbelt on. We're going to be here for a minute. And every time I say that, Paul's always like, yeah, here we go. There's another hour. And Paul's always giving me crap. But that's just how Paul is on the Green Industry Podcast. And by the way, we're recording this weekly, real time. Okay, sometimes we do a guest interview, and those come out a week or two later with Marty quarterback and things. But sometimes I do a podcast, during the week, and I've been listening to Paul's show, every morning when I'm on the mower. And he called me out the other day. He called me out for my transition, where I say, well, we're gonna get a sip of water, and we're gonna hear from the show sponsors. And he's like, man, we need to work on our transitions. And I'm like, hey, that transition's actually honest. It's an honest review. It's an honest transition. I do. I get a sip of water here. I clear my throat. Usually I hit the mute button and all you hear is, and I'm trying to clear my throat. And if you guys that have been on the podcast, you guys know that if you're just talking and talking and talking, your voice gets a little raspy. Sometimes you got to clear your throat. And I have a big glass of water in front of me, and I got to clear my throat, Paul. All right, so we got to do some transitions. We got to figure out how to maybe work on some of them. But in the meantime, let's do this. Let's get a sip of water. Let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer, to bring you guys some of the show announcements, the show sponsors, and we'll come right on back.
I was on the other side of the takeout window when Paul made that comment about you and the sip of water. The takeout window is just the glass that separates his studio from mine down here in Atlanta, for those that were wondering. After he finished the show, I bet Paul a 20 spot that you were just busking for a beverage sponsor for the show, and that your comment was some sort of super sophisticated, subtle marketing trick so that the sponsor would back the beverage truck up to your garage. And so it looks like Brian, you just cost me $20. Hey, it's Mr. Producer, and before hearing from today's sponsor, a quick reminder that the whole ball of wax is going to jump in price on October the 1st. You're not going to want to miss all the things that Brian has in the pipeline ready to turbocharge your business into the off season. I'm going to tell you more about that shortly, but first, I've got to take a little sip and swallow my pride.
Enjoying today's show? Motivated to take your lawn care and landscaping business to the next level? Learn what it takes to grow your lawn and landscaping business today with training and education from the Lawntrepreneur Academy. Get educated with how-tos on mulch installation, plowing snow, aeration and overseeding, and so much more. These training programs are designed to help you save time and make more money with your business. Invest in your future by first investing in yourself. Use promo code PODCAST to save 10% on all courses today at LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com. Now, back to the show.
All right, guys. Well, good deal. Well, here's what we're going to be talking about, like I alluded to earlier, and that is reasons or excuses. Now, I do a lot of coaching calls. We get a lot of conversations with you guys. I've seen a lot of, comments through YouTube, hundreds of DMs per day that I get to work through and get to hang out and talk to you guys. And, sometimes, things don't go our way. Sometimes that we don't have all of our ducks in a row or all the planets aligned for us to just have this like knockout success, right? Sometimes we don't have the money. Sometimes we don't have the time. Sometimes we don't have the talent, the resources, a little bit of everything, right? You guys know my story. It's pretty well documented. Like I didn't have a lot of privilege when I got started with my lawn and landscape business. I was 20 years old and 19-ish, 20, and I was broke as a joke. I didn't really have any prospects to succeed in business for myself. That wasn't exactly the conversation. I was like, well, I can take over my family's business and, take it from 7 figures to, 8 figures or whatever. No, not the case. Again, to go full circle, we had a little bit of cash, a little bit of credit, but a little bit of cash is code for about $400 in the checking account. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't have any like significant 10, 20, 30 grand to throw at our lawn and landscape business by any means. But here's what I want to do. Over the years, for sure, even, doing coaching calls or conversations with people on the phone, I still see a lot of this stuff permeate through conversation. And somewhere along the way, it's like everything's going good. This is going good. That's going good. But then there's like this bottleneck, and it's always followed with a but, right? Or, yeah, everything would be going great, but, or everything was going good until this, or because of that. And it's like an excuse that sometimes we use to justify something or hide behind something, right? Like a really popular one might be, and I've got a bunch of examples we're going to go through here. So if this one's going to challenge you a little bit, it just might. And just know that before we finish this one, just know that I'm your friend here at the beginning. I hope to be your friend by the time we're done. But this is what I had to do. I had to stop making excuses on a lot of different topics, and we're going to go through these. And like one, for example, that's a really low-hanging topic or item is I can't find good help. Can't find good help anymore. I'm like, that's a reason or excuse. And what do I mean? Well, for some of us out there, we talk about excuses in life where, I can't get something done. I can't figure it out. And it can either be a reason or it can be an excuse. It can be a reason to go do something, or it can be an excuse about why something doesn't happen. Let's say, for example, let's just jump into it. Let's say, for example, you want to start a lawn and landscape business. And you're like, man, I can't because I have 4 kids or I have 2 kids. Okay, that's fair. Is that an excuse or the reason you should start a lawn and landscape company? Right? I mean, some people are like, man, I can't start a business of my own. I've got kids. Other people are like, you know what? My kids are the reason I'm starting a lawn and landscape company. They're the reasons I'm starting a business because I want to take care of my family. What about money? Anybody ever say they don't have any money? Man, is that an excuse or the reason? Well, I can't start a lawn and landscape company because I don't have $2, $5, $10, $20, $30, $50,000. Oh, okay. Hey, trust me, that was my story for a long time. Is that an excuse or a reason? Well, if you don't have enough money to start a company or start a business, or if you don't have enough money to start a business, it's because what you're currently doing to make income might not be working or the most effective. So if you're making 40 grand a year and you're 34 years old and you're like, man, I don't have $8,000 laying around to invest into a company of my own. Well, that could be the excuse to not start a business or a side hustle, or it can be the reason to start a business of your own. What about customers? I'm not good with customers, man. I don't know how to get customers. Like all these excuses about why you can't pick up customers. Well, are you going to continue with those excuses about why you can't get customers, or are you going to learn some new skill sets and let that be the reason you get new customers? You got excuses about my rig. My rig isn't this or my rig isn't that. Okay. Look, trust me, I hear you. I don't want to sound a tough guy, like an internet tough guy here, but are you going to let your rig be the excuse about why your company's not growing? I grew my company and my business, and my rig looked retarded. Okay. It looked awful. Like I had rusted out fenders that were just covered in gas. So, rust just went right through them. The fuel went through them. It just ate away at it. All the corrosion and, all the rust and the fenders literally fell off. And I was like, man, this rig, it's not the most, premium, but I wasn't going to let my rig get in the way of me putting my best foot forward with my hand for a handshake and a big smile and say, hey, I'm Brian's Lawn Maintenance. How can I help you out? Another one, the economy, it's too tough. Is that an excuse for why you're not growing your company? Or is that the reason you're not growing your company? Man, the economy's tough, so I can't make it with my business. Well, if the economy's too tough, maybe you should have a business of your own where you can be in control of your economic future and use it as a reason to start your own company, not an excuse, right? You can never use the economy as an excuse. Sometimes the economy's doing good. The economy's so good, I just can't do X, Y, and Z because everybody else is out there, right? There's so many people doing it. Excuse or reason, right? And here's why I bring all these up. After I go through all of these, I guarantee you, somewhere along the way, we've all heard or said one of these. And anytime, my wife and I play this game where anytime we point one finger out, if you guys know the old one, you point one finger out at somebody, what do you got have happening? 3 fingers are pointing back. Well, anytime you want to start making excuses and justifying things, look, you're right. That's the bottom line. You're right. If you're like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. You know what? You're probably right. But somebody else is going to use those exact same circumstances as a reason to move on and a reason to succeed. Another one, none of my family wants my lawn service. None of my family wants to hire my service. Was that an excuse or a reason? Look, if I was going to base the success of my company and it was going to be predicated on how many of my family utilize my company's products or services, I would have been out of business in the first 6 weeks. I had one cousin, she signed up. Actually, go figure, it's my cousin who is the mom to Rob, my employee. And so she was about 25 minutes away. Part of another route, but she was my only family member customer out of all my Facebook friends, and we put all the word out. Brian's got a new lawn care business. Tell all your friends and family. Well, what I was going to use my family as my excuse to succeed, my reason to succeed. Well, I didn't have any customers that came from it. So what was I going to do? I was going to say, look, despite that, I don't have any family support, or they're just not really in the market for my lawn and landscape company, I'm going to use it as a reason to make sure that I never have to rely on family alone to grow my company, right? Another one, my area is too poor. Nobody buys what I have here. Okay, cool. Look, it might be a real situation, but are you going to hang your hat on that excuse? Man, I can't grow my company because people don't get aerations here. People don't get lawn care here. People don't get service here. People don't get mulch here. People don't, you just don't know my customers. You just don't know my clients. You just don't know my area. You just don't know my market. You know what? I probably don't. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Is that going to be your excuse to not grow or your reason to grow? Are you going to figure out other services and other products and other things that you can do to grow your business? And again, all these things, these are all just topics I've been able to write down in the last 3 weeks that I had this running notepad on my phone that I've heard from people having conversations. And, if you guys want a good resource by the time this one is done, check out the book, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. It talks some really, really strong fortitude in that book about extreme ownership, about it's all up to you. It's up to it's leadership. It is, if it is to be, it's up to me. That kind of mentality, right? I don't know how to, code, or I don't know how to make copy. Copy is like the text. So if you ever see a website, they call it copy. You ever read a blog post? It's like copy. So, well, I don't know how to write, or I'm dyslexic, or I'm not good at articulating my thoughts. Okay, that's fine. Is that an excuse why you don't have a website? Or is that the reason that you're going to use that to hire somebody to write the copy for you? Maybe you have a sister, a brother, a friend, a family relative, somebody you know that's a wordsmith, and say, hey, here's what I'm trying to say. Can you help me with my website? Is it an excuse to not have a website? Or is it the reason that you're going to have the best worded website ever because you're going to enlist the help of somebody on your team? Another one, you're like, I'm not rich. Can we be honest? I'm not rich. I don't have all the money for all these different, all these services, and $1,000 to get an LLC going. And I got a bookkeeper now. I need a bookkeeper, and I need a CPA. These things cost money. What do these people think they are? What do Brian and Paul think? I'm rich? I'm not rich. Oh, okay. Well, are you going to use that as an excuse forever to not be rich? In fact, use it as a reason that you want to get rich. Get so mad that you're so stinking broke that you decide for once and for all, I'm never going to be in this position ever again. I'm going to figure out how to be rich. Do you know there's an actual book titled How to Be Rich? Have you read it? I mean, is it an excuse to just say, you know what, I'm not going to be rich because of this, this, and this? No. Use it as a reason that you want to get rich. These are just common excuses that we all say day to day. I'm not experienced. Okay, is that an excuse to not grow your company, or a reason to go grow your company? You're not experienced. Well, when's the last time you called up a competitor or a friend, humbled the ego, and said, hey, dude, I'll work with you and for you for a day for free? And if they say, all right, dude, just come work with me on the crew. I'll pay you $10, $15 an hour cash just for the day. Whatever. I'll trade work for you. I'll teach you a couple things about planting, a couple things about pruning, a couple things about mowing, teach you how to do aeration overseeding. When I was working at Little Caesars, there were so many times I was salaried. Oh, I was salaried, but there's so many times while I was salaried that I would go to corporate events, training events, other stores on my days off, nights and weekends, and I was eat, sleep, breathe Little Caesars. And at 19, I'm running my own store, making $40,000, $50,000 a year. And I was like one of the youngest store managers in the whole company's history. I was beyond crazy about Little Caesars. And I had every disadvantage in the book that you guys can imagine. But what did I do? I just said, fine, these are all potential excuses, but I have the biggest reason to show up, to come early, to stay late, to kick butt. This is what I'm going to do because I need to use these all as reasons to not go backwards. These are not excuses. These are reasons to move on and to move forward. Another one, I can't sell. Okay, so what? How many people get started in life and you're a natural born salesman? I don't know the stat. I would say probably 10, 15, 20% of people and personality types are like natural born salesmen, if you will. I'm not a natural born salesman. I'm not really a natural born type of person that's a people oriented person. You take all these tests and all these like different guides and you read all these different books like Personality Plus or Wired That Way and all these different like psychology books and the Intelligent 2.0 book, all these different things. And you're like, I come to find out that I'm a very melancholy, concrete kind of a thinker. And I'm actually very recluse. I like being by myself. I like putting on headphones. I worked at True Green for a year and a half in a tanker truck. I didn't have to talk to anybody. It was like the best 12, 18 months ever. And then I go in the business for myself and I've got customers. I'm like, I got to talk to these people. Unbelievable. But if you're not good at sales, so what? Sales isn't something that is a talent. I've come to learn sales is a skill set. And it's actually really, really simple. Instead of trying to sell everybody, start helping people. And you realize like, be the hook you up guy. Be the, hey, I got something for that. Yeah, I can make a suggestion for that. Stop trying to sell people and just try to help people and advise people. And if you do that, you realize that you might start making some sales. And then you're like, man, this whole selling thing, it's not that hard because sell is just a 4-letter word for help, right? But are you going to use that you're shy, that your personality type? Are these all excuses, or are these the reasons you need to get really, really good at your skill set of selling? What about, I hear this all the time on different YouTube videos and people complain and whine. It's too hot. It's too cold. It's too wet. It's too dry. Okay, those are excuses. Are those going to be the reason that you succeed though? Because if it's too hot, maybe you should get into irrigation work. Crush it, man. If you're in Texas, Arizona, this or that, whatever, maybe you should start getting good at doing irrigation, right? Use it as a reason to succeed. Man, we're in the hottest market ever. Literally, we're so hot that we do all the irrigation. We are known as the irrigation guy in my city. Or you can say, man, it's too hot. All the lawns are burned out. We don't have any work. Well, I guess I'm going to go home and, at 11 o'clock or 2 o'clock every day. And, instead of making 2, 4, 5, 10 grand a week, we made $1,100, but I got a good excuse about why we didn't make money, because it's hot. Well, no, that's an excuse. The reason because it's hot out, you're going to use it as a reason to grow an irrigation division, right? It's too cold. Oh man, it's too cold out here. You guys don't know what it's like. In my market, we don't do snow. We don't get snow. It's too hot. It's not warm enough for the grass to grow. It's too cold for us to really get. So it's not cold enough for us to get snow. So we're in this awkward thing. You don't know my region. You don't know my market. I get it. Trust me. I'm trying to be as respectful as I can. But how long are you going to use that excuse? How long are you going to use that excuse to not get a part-time job at Amazon, at Best Buy, at a warehouse, at a medical supply company? How long are you going to use that as an excuse to not learn how to prune? Right? I guarantee you can do fall cleanups and leaf cleanups through the next 2 or 3 months. You might have a legit 30-day window, 45-day window where you can't work, but don't give me those excuses. You're like, man, we don't do snow and the grass barely grows, but we can do leaves. But I don't know how to do leaves, man. Leaf cleanups intimidate me. They intimidate me. Okay, well, how many days, weeks, months, and years are you going to use that as an excuse to not succeed? Right? I mean, it's beyond crazy. Like how many times you guys got to see, on Instagram TV or some YouTube video of a guy who, unfortunately, usually he's like some combat veteran, right? He's in a Hummer. Something horrific happens with, a roadside bump, and he loses his arms and legs or something of that nature. And he's got the torso, but he's intelligent and he's got a great attitude. He's got a great attitude, and somehow he's able to, draw with a pencil in his mouth. He's able to use certain glasses and goggles that track his eyesight, and through blinking he can type. Right? You guys have seen these kind of miracle stories. And the guy becomes a motivational speaker, or a public speaker, or a best-selling author, or he becomes a mentor. He has a mentorship program, or he's got a motivational YouTube channel. He's got different opportunities. What's the difference between that guy and then another guy who has the exact same horrific accident, and he just unfortunately gives up the ghost? He says, you know what? I've lost my will to live. Super unfortunate scenario. And he just passes away. He's 32 years old, passes away. But the other guy is 32 years old. Still his torso, still his head, still his mind, sharp as a tack. And he's going on stages and trying to inspire people. It's your attitude. It's your attitude. That's every one of these podcasts we do. It's always about the attitude and trying to help you guys say, look, we all got life. I got life. You got life. Don't think that I'm somehow all these life circumstances don't come up against me. I have equipment breakdown. I have employee issues. I have, Liz and I, we have a fight once in a while. Come on, we're not perfect. And life. Parents this, relatives that, family members this, companies have expectations, this is going on. YouTube is moving the cheese. YouTube's not promoting my video, or this guy says something mean, whatever. Okay, we all have we have life and circumstances happen to us. But are you going to succeed in spite of those circumstances, right? We have to have these reasons to keep moving on. I've got a couple other good ones here. We're going to, as Paul loves my transition, take a sip of water here. I try to do that so I don't get super intense in you guys. I think one of my things that I got to get better at is lightening up and having some fun and laughing a little bit. I always look to Paul's show for a little bit of comedic relief, because Paul's a way better storyteller, and you can just tell he's bubbling full of energy. I'm always business. We got to get down to business. We got to make money. We got to take care of our families, right? So let's do this. I'm going to take a quick sip of water. Legit, I got a cup of water here, Paul. So for real, I wish I could do a video podcast so Paul can see, but every time I bring Paul into my studio, he starts banging his hands around and flailing, and making loud noises. And so anyway, let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer, and we will come right on back.
Yeah, you got that right. Paul is certainly an expert at loud noises, if you know what I mean. you've only had to deal with him for a few days at a time, but we've actually shared studio space now for over 4 years. I need a medal for what I have to put up with on a daily basis. Well, Brian, as I was listening to some of the content you just shared, I kept thinking about a sermon that I once heard on Attitude where my preacher asked the question, do you want to run with turkeys or soar with the eagles? Do you want to run with the turkeys or soar with the eagles? Hey, who do you know that needs an attitude adjustment? Consider sharing the podcast with them. And for you that are new to the show, we've got an upcoming event that might just be the motivation you need.
This industry's largest peer-to-peer led training event is just around the corner. And if you guys are ready to bump it up a notch and lay the foundation for an incredibly successful 2021, then L'Entrepreneur Academy Live 2020 is an absolute must-attend event. L'Entrepreneur Academy Live. The fun takes place November 7th in Novi, Michigan at the Suburban Collection Showplace. This year we have 6 amazing speakers, including Nick Carlson, Caleb and Brittany Allman, Corey Ballard, Jeff Joyner, Keith Kalfas, and Stanley Genetic. This all-day-long exclusive conference focuses on safety training, sales training, and features live panels and demos as well. You definitely don't want to miss out. Refocus, regroup, and re-engage with us this fall at L'Entrepreneur Academy Live 2020. We're so excited to host you guys in Novi, Michigan, and help propel your business to the next level. Hotels and event registration information can all be found at l'entrepreneuracademy.com and in today's show notes. And follow along as the excitement builds with the Instagram hashtag LAL2020. See you November 7th.
Ratings and reviews. Each week, we take a minute to highlight your guys' reviews of the show.
We're going to have to rock and roll. We've got tons of reviews to get to today. Thanks, guys. Keep them pouring in. Jacob Seiden says, congratulations, Brian, on the 100th podcast episode. I've been listening since number 1. Love the unfiltered content. Keep up the good work. You deserve everything that comes from it. Kyle P. Stan, great podcast. Every time I watch one of these podcasts, I learn something. He says it's going to be sad when I listen to all of the episodes. Kyle, hang in there, buddy. We're making more, I promise. Hang in there. Demand Hunt. He says, Brian and Stan, we're on fire. Just listen to Brian and Stan for an hour. Best podcast so far, in my opinion. They take it way deeper than lawn care and hardscaping, digging deep into the purpose of their life and helping others. Emerson7630, another 5-star review, very resourceful. If you're new to the industry like I am, there's not a better podcast to listen to learn and educate yourself on the business. And I didn't quite catch who this review came from, but I like how it starts off. Is there a 6th star? I recently started a lawn care and landscaping company, and between the podcast, your YouTube channel, and the whole ball of wax bundle from L'Entrepreneur Academy, Brian has given me so many amazing tips that are now shaping how I approach my business. If I could leave 6 stars, I would. Thanks for the inspiration. Can't wait to see what you have coming next. I wish I knew your name. It just probably means I didn't copy and paste correctly into my document. But what are you going to do? Sue me? Hey, glad you're enjoying the podcast. Thank you, everybody, for these incredible reviews. And Brian's coming right back. Stick with us.
Want us to read your review next? Let us know how we're doing, and we might just read your review on next week's show.
All right, good deal, guys. Well, welcome back to the show. All right, here's what we're going to be just continuing on. I give you guys a lot of excuses, right? A lot of us have said a lot of these different things, but what are you going to do about it? Right? At the end of the day, we got to get creative and stop using excuses, the reason that we're not growing. And we got to start figuring out a way to make things happen. You know, here's actually a really, really good one. Nick Carlson from Mulchmate reached out to me. He said, hey, dude, he was calling me. Liz and I were on the way to meet our architect. And we were just driving on the highway on 96. We had about a 20-minute phone call. And he goes, hey, dude, I'm in a pickle. I wanted to pick your brain on a couple different things. You're Mr. Social Media Guru. Help me out here. And I went, and you're already wrong, but I said, let's have a conversation. What can I do to help? All of my resources, whatever that means, are available for you and all of you guys. What can I do to help? And he said, well, he goes, we have some new stuff coming for Mulchmate. And he goes, unfortunately, as you know, GIE was postponed and canceled. I said, yeah. He goes, so what do I do? How do I get the name out of all of this new stuff that we got coming out to the market? I want to spread the word. We've been working diligently the last 12 months behind the scenes. How do I get the word out? He goes, I know we're going to get the word out, right? So he made a definite decision, right? He has desire, and he said, I'm going to get the word out. I just need to figure out how to materialize it. And so we did. We started spitballing some ideas. And I said, well, why don't you do he goes, do you think I could have you post on Instagram? And I said, yeah. I mean, I can make a post for an Instagram. I said, sure. I said, or let's start spinning the wheels. Let's start, figuring things out. Let's get creative. And this is the conversation I want to have with you guys and for you guys is let's get creative. Let's start figuring out when you already had turned your brain off and said, it's not going to happen, or this excuse, or this isn't going to X, Y, Z. You turn your brain off. You don't even know subconsciously, though, you're turning your brain off. You're like, man, this will never happen. And what does your subconscious brain do? It reinforces that thought, that vision, those words. And it says, yeah, you're right. We're not going to figure this out. And then if you, on the opposite side, say, man, I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to figure this out. In your subconscious, which we've all seen like these photos on Instagram of like the iceberg, right? You got this little iceberg on top and it's like 20 times the size underneath. Well, that's your subconscious mind. And you can go down the rabbit hole about how much all this stuff works. I think it's fascinating. But your subconscious mind is working like crazy behind the scenes when you give it the opportunity to munch on something, to figure it out. You guys ever like have a situation or a problem or a concern and you're like, man, I got to figure this out. How do I make XYZ happen? You go to bed and then you wake up next morning, you're like, voila. Oh my God. If I do this, this, and this, we can make it happen. Well, you're consciously were sleeping, but your subconscious, as we now all know, or you should know, doesn't take a day off. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't really rest. It doesn't shut off. And so while you were consciously sleeping for 8 hours or 5 hours, your subconscious mind is working on the problem, and you wake up and you go, boom. You know, I told Liz, if anything was to ever happen to me, which it won't, I told Liz, make sure you tell our kids life principle here. And I'm going to make a whole book of these like life principles I can always pass on to my kids. But one of them is there's no problem that sustained thought can't overcome. Period, case closed. I don't care your excuse. I don't care your problems. There's nothing that sustained thought can't overcome. And so when I was talking to Nick, we were getting the wheels greased. We were getting the gears moving, the gears turning. And Nick goes, well, we could do this or this. And I said, well, why don't we like come to you? I said, why don't you spot an airplane ticket for $200? I mean, they're like dirt cheap right now. A ticket to somewhere right now is like $450. Right now, because of COVID and all this nonsense, it's like $59, $79, $129. That's a really, really good deal. That's called opportunity in the marketplace when everybody's fearful and pulling back. We learned about this in 07, 08. I mean, it's so well documented. Everybody pulled out, reduced budgets. I don't know if we got the money for that. I don't know if we got the ad spend. I don't know if we got the marketing. I'm like, clearly you have the memory of a goldfish because you don't remember anything that happened in 07, 08. The biggest winners in 07, 08, 09 were the people who invested, the people who grew, the people that were like, man, plane tickets are expensive. This, and this is going on. Yeah, we're just not going to do it. So let's teleconference. Let's do some Cisco. We'll just get on the phone. Yeah. And the companies that won big were the companies that still invested in the plane tickets, went into the offices, made relationships, took handshakes, talked to customers in the eyes, and they said, you know what, we're going to partner and we're going to see this together. It's the exact same thing. So Nick and I'm like, Nick, you don't hang up your hat. Nick's not like, fear-minded and, you know what, man, Mulchmate's just not going to have a new thing this year. Heck no, dude. Heck no. We're going to figure this thing out. So what do we do? I say, Nick, why don't you bring in a couple YouTubers, bring in a couple influencers, bring in a couple people that you have local. And this isn't like my grandiose design or idea. I'm not taking an ounce of credit for it because I told Nick, here's some spitball ideas, let it bake on your brain and then hit me back up. And I think it was like 2 days later, he hits me back up. He goes, dude, we're going to do an event. We're going to do a launch event. We're going to do a remote launch event, bring a couple people in. We're going to blast it out through social media, right? All of you guys have 200, 400, 500 Instagram followers. All you guys have YouTube channels with 100, 500, 5,000, 50,000 YouTube followers and all this mess. Why can't the whole community and industry know of a new product permeating it through what we all do together? We're a team. We're actually pretty interwoven, interconnected. This community is very, very powerful. And so he's going to do a live event. But Nick used it as a reason to succeed with GIE being postponed versus an excuse saying, you know what, can't do it. Can't do it. We're not going to make it happen. And Nick Carlson, because he's got a positive mental attitude, and he asked why. He asked how. How can we do this? What can we do? There's got to be something. And you know what? It took Nick about 72 hours to materialize this thought, and we have a reason to make it work versus an excuse of not making it work. And that, you know what? Sometimes you don't have all the thoughts. Sometimes you don't have all the answers, right? Nick was like kind of beating his head against the wall. I don't know if it was for a day, a week, a month. And he calls me, and I'm not the guru. I'm not the hero, but I have a different orbit of thought. And Nick goes, hey, I value your opinion. What can we do? And so we were just spitballing. And here's the thing. Maybe you don't have all those answers out there. It doesn't mean you don't know. It doesn't mean you're dumb or anything like that. It doesn't mean you're incompetent. That was honestly a big hang up for me. All these like self-conscious things were going on in my life the first 10, 12 years, like lack of belief, lack of confidence, lack of connection. It's like, you ever hear people say like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, when you don't know anybody, that sucks. And when you don't know anything either, well, that's the nail in the coffin. Amen. I remember a story once where people, like for example, they called Henry Ford incompetent. And the story was something like there was actually a legal battle about like whether or not he should be the owner of like his own company and being able to do certain things and run the company, and the board or whatever was like, this man is literally incompetent. He was stupid. He was an idiot. Now, an idiot like today, you're like, man, that guy's an idiot. But back then it was like a really, really like gnarly, nasty thing to say. It was like, I challenge you to a duel, you know, like that kind of stuff. It was like, it was a big insult, right? I don't, you know, I'm not gonna use words, whatever it would be today, but he was an idiot. People called him idiot, an incompetent fool. But people say, well, why is that? And because somebody did like a test, they're like, well, what's, some formula or some equation that they presented to him. And they said, if you can't figure out this problem, then you're clearly incompetent and you should be giving up ownership or whatever to your company. And he goes, interesting. 1 second. And bzz, hits a little buzzer on his thing, a little Mr. Burns style from The Simpsons, right? And he goes, send him in. And he brought in some engineer, and he told the engineer, he goes, do you know how to figure out this formula? And the engineer said, yes. And so the engineer figured out the formula, gave it to, Mr. Ford or whatever the story goes, presented it to the critic and said, I believe this is your answer. And the person goes, well, that's not right. You can't use help, And he goes, you're supposed to be the smart person. You're supposed to have all those answers. And Henry Ford said, why? He goes, I have a team of people that I employ that can give me all the answers I need. Why do I need to be the smartest person in the room when I can just surround myself with smart people, do what I'm a 9 or a 10 at, and then hire a bunch of other good people to fill in all my weaknesses? Sound familiar? And so it's like the same thing. Are you going to use these as excuses to not succeed, or are you going to build a team? Are you going to use these as reasons to surround yourself with good people, good thoughts? Like, for example, I don't have any money to invest in training or education. Launchpreneur Academy Live, Hardscape Academy, this, and the other thing. Are those excuses or those reasons? Look, if I didn't have any money to not invest into education or a coaching call or whatever, man, something's got to change. Because if you don't have money to drop $200, $300, $400, $500 on something immediately and not really think twice about it, then what you're doing to make money may or may not be the most effective. I ain't getting anybody's grill. I'm just saying that's how I felt all the time back in the day. There would be a business conference or a seminar or something to do or something to go to. And I'm like, dude, I don't have any money to go to this thing. That means I need to be there first. 10X, Growth Con. Some of you guys are into the 10X thing. Awesome, dude. Well, you're like, tickets $50, $500, $5,000. You're like, man, I don't have any money to go. Maybe you should be there first. Maybe you should be the first one to make a decision to go there, because if you're broke, you can't use it forever as an excuse that I can't go to something because I'm broke. Like, that's just not cool. That's just not fun. Use it as a reason to be the first one there. We were talking to Roger, Lobo Lawn and Landscape. Him and I, we talk all the time, basically a monthly coaching call. I actually just heard a great podcast episode with him and Paul earlier this week. Great interview over on the Green Industry Podcast. And Roger said something like incredibly intelligent, many things that were very intelligent. But one thing he said was, I made some money with my business. I realized, or I felt, I think is what he said, I felt like I wasn't making all the money I should have on a job, or things were good, but like I didn't know. Like, I didn't know what I didn't know. So what did he do? He made some money, invested in himself, invest in your future, invest in yourself. Visit launchpreneuracademy.com. Like, you guys hear this and it's like, come on. He invested in himself with a coaching call with me and a coaching call with Paul. Like, not even the next day, he has a $12,000 landscape job that he was able to bid. You guys heard me talk about these like landscape jobs and these side job installation stories. He got with Paul. Paul's like, no. Let's redo our margins. Let's redo our numbers. Let's redo this and that. Gave Roger some pointers, and Roger went out, executed, cleaned up on the next job. And Roger's asking me some different viewpoints and vantage points about business and how to build a team and bookkeepers and accountants and all this other stuff using a lot of Paul's people. Fantastic. And so we're working through these different things, and he's making money now more than ever. And you even hear the testimony that he had on Paul's episode. Dude, I bought Brian's whole ball of wax. This isn't a plug to buy my training programs by any means. I seriously couldn't care less. They're a resource. And some of you guys are like, man, what's the pitch? The pitch is helping you grow your business. Like, in another week, we'll have a rate adjustment letter. It is the first training program that within about 90 seconds of you downloading and sending off to your customers to help you increase rates going into the new year will literally pay for itself by just having one customer sign up at the new rate when you had to adjust their price $5, $10 or add $2, $3 per the weekly mowing cut for 2021. So we're going to get our ducks in a row over the off season, right? So we're going to send out all these letters to 100 of my accounts. Hopefully you guys send them out to 100 of all of your accounts. And that, $20 download digital resource, which plug and play to, change the rates and do a little price increase. Well, I mean, if you change the rate, $3 per weekly cut on a, lawn that gets cut 30 times a year, what is that, $90? For a downloadable letter, that's $20. I mean, you want to talk about the ROI, and I'd say, like, you guys always get the upside. It's $20 that you guys have for a digital download product, and you make, I don't know, $90 per customers times 100 customers. What is that? $9,000 difference that you make by having a new downloadable resource. I mean, that's where people are like, actually, if you knew like market rates, Fullerton's programs are pretty cheap. Yeah. I mean, if I had a letter for $200 and you made $9,000 per year, average long customer 7 years. So what is that? $63,000 you'll make on all your customers by raising their rates, by using the adjustment. And that doesn't count compounded rate increases over the next 6 years. So, I mean, you get a $20 resource and you make $90,000 on it, $100,000. Absolutely insane. That's what we're doing here. We're empowering you guys to grow. But what are we going to do? Are we going to use these? I don't have the money, or I don't have this to, reinvest. No. That means that you need to be the first one investing. And again, sincerely, it's not about the training programs. It's just a really relatable example. And Roger's he's crushing it. And I get to have 2, 3, 4 calls a week with so many different people. And you know what? It's like, by the way, I'm in the exact same boat. There was times when I was so scared in my business. I felt like I was so incompetent. I felt like an idiot. I'm bidding stuff. I know it. And anything worse than like bidding something and not getting it is getting it and you have a bad price. Can you guys relate to that? Like, it's not I got a $45 weekly cut and it's like, oh man, it's like, I should have bid it for 50. It's like, or I didn't get it. It's when I did get it and I knew it should have been a $55 or $60 cut, but I did a bid in person and the guy pressed me for a price on the spot and I wasn't ready because I wasn't prepared. I didn't look at the property beforehand on Google Maps, or I just, I don't know. He talked me down. He walked me down on my price. Happens to me all the time. And sometimes you're just too nice. You're too kind. You're like, yeah, I mean, most of them are $60 weekly cuts around here, but we are doing this one right, 3 houses down, so I'll cut you a deal. We'll do it for 50. And you get back in the truck and you go, why did I do that? There's so many times where I was like, man, it's so hot out. We're not going to be cutting grass obviously this week. All the lawns are burning up, and I guess that means I get to go home and take a nap. After all, I earned it. I deserve it. I've been going hard for 10, 12 weeks since spring, since early March. Man, I earned it. Maybe, or you're using it as an excuse to take time off instead of using it as a reason to figure out how to optimize your business model to go get different clients, different customers, irrigated customers, all that mess. I had to do that because at the end of the day, who was it really going to hurt? Okay, so I get a couple extra Z's of sleep, but I'm not making the money or the profit I need to grow my business and grow my life. And I promised different commitments in my life to different people to make certain things come true, including my wife. So who was I really coming up short on or coming up against to myself, let alone also to my wife. I made these promises. And you guys have all seen the meme as well, by the way, the whole sleep thing. It's like, ask somebody on their deathbed, hey, what was something that you would have did different? And nobody's ever said, I wish would have got 8 hours of sleep every night. You've never heard that. It was always, man, I wish I would have slept less and did more. And some of you guys, you're addicted to sleep. Honestly, like you guys are like, man, I can't go as hard as somebody because I can't go as hard as somebody because I need 8 hours. I need 9 hours. I need 10 hours. Look, I like my sleep just as much as you guys do, but I'm not addicted to it. In fact, my flesh, I tell my flesh what to do, not the other way around. In fact, if you're addicted to sleep and you're like, man, I sleep until 8 or 9 and, I'm a 10 to 8 guy or whatever, you know what? Why don't you start creeping up the clock every week, an extra half hour until you start joining the 6 a.m. club? You start joining the 5:30 club. Now, if you go to bed at 2 a.m, I'm not telling you to be a hero and get up at 5 a.m. I think that's stupid. you need 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. Okay. I'm not saying that, but this stuff where you're like, man, I'm getting 8, 10, 12 hours of sleep, man, come on. Like, what are you going to spend a third of your life sleeping? It's like the Elon Musk meme. You guys have seen the same thing. It's like, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And Elon Musk said, well, he goes, if you work 40 hours a week and I work 80, I'm going to accomplish in 1 week what takes you to do 2. So I'm going to do in 5 years what it took you to do 10, right? Life's a game of inches, right? Al Pacino, right? Any given Sunday, he goes, if we claw with our fingernails, inch by inch, every single yard, we fight. And then we add up all those inches around us. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how we're going to win. That. Life is a game of inches. That's all it is. That's football. That's life. Right? And that's what we do every single day. That was a horrible Al Pacino impression, by the way. So anyway, but dude, any given Sunday is like top 3, top 5, one of my favorite movies. Never talked about it, but top 5 movies. Life is a game of inches. I listen to Al Pacino talk every 2 weeks, man, on YouTube. I play it. It's 4 minutes long. Sucky audio quality on YouTube. Wish somebody would bump the audio. But life is a game of inches, man. And those inches we need are everywhere around us. Right? We're going to start using these as excuses, or we're going to start using these as reasons. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the connections. I don't have the resources. So what? People don't know me. What can I offer? If you don't have anything resourceful to offer people, you know what you can do? Love on people, care about people, build relationships, sweat equity, grunt work, grunt marketing, guerrilla warfare marketing, grunt it out, sweat equity, hard work. Not a single thing that I have today did anybody give me a single thing. I'm talk about privilege. How much privilege can a white trash, double wide trailer kid have? Right? How much privilege did I have? I had nothing going for me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make sure that I do start getting some resources. I don't know everybody, but I'm going to start introducing myself to people, and people laugh. I did a podcast earlier. People laughed at me. They laugh at me. Like, man, who are you, kid? Come on back. They don't even say, come on back to me when you're successful. They just say, buzz off, man. Buzz off. I said, you're going to know my name. You're going to know who I am, and I'm going to build something big, and then you're going to need me. And you know what? And then when you do need me, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you out because I don't count score, right? That was my life. People use my name now for clickbait. People use my name now for clout. People use my name now for titles in YouTube videos. People use, they don't ever really say your name. It's just an innuendo. People that hate and troll on you, they never really say it to your face. They just say, oh, that guy from Michigan, or they just spread gossip or negativity behind the scenes. Who's got time for that? The irony of like them calling me fake or an actor, the irony is like, I don't even have time to respond because I'm so busy creating, but yet they're the ones calling me out for being fake. Yet they're the ones that have time to criticize. Things that make you go, right? It's all these different things. Are they excuses or are they reasons, right? My podcast isn't growing. My YouTube channel is not growing. My live event's not doing this. My business partner stole from me. My business partner sucks. My spouse this. My wife doesn't get it. Excuses or reasons, right? You can't start a lawn care business because you have kids. That's exactly why somebody else is starting one. You don't have any money to start up a lawn care company. Maybe that's why you should start up a lawn care company. You don't have any way to provide for your wife. Maybe the reason you should cut grass nights and weekends, right? Put in a little bit more effort. If you don't have any money to invest. So what? Figure it out. Go do some aerations, pull some weeds, humble the ego, right? This is the kind of stuff that I had to get over. I had all of it, dude. Race, color, creed. You're a minority. You're an ethnicity. You're poor. You don't have any privilege. You don't come from anything. So what? How long are you going to spin that story, dude? For real. When's the last somebody talked truth and you didn't say, you know what, dude? It doesn't matter. Nature versus nurture, environment versus this, equal opportunity of outcome versus equal opportunity. Everybody wants a guaranteed equal outcome. I don't want a guaranteed equal outcome. I want a guaranteed equal opportunity. I don't want anybody to make it easier for me. I don't. Why would I want that? I want to earn the stripes. I want to earn the battle scars, right? One day I want to do this like short film. Got all these cool different video ideas. I've never really shared this one before, but I want to do a video like a short, and it's going to be like Scars is going to be like the title, and it's going to be like an interview of a guy who, he's a business owner and he looks GQ, he looks good, he looks clean, but the bottom line is that he's been through so much stuff, and then in one way, shape, or form, I got to figure out like how to tell this story. It's going to be really cool, but a different light, like a black light or like a neon light, is going to show, and this guy's going to look like scarred up, skeleton, crazy stuff. He's going to have scars and stitches all over him. And he's a successful business guy in the public's eye. But when you put him under a different type of light, you're going to see a scar on his arm. You're going to see a scar and a cut, like a cut wound, like on his thigh. You're going to see a huge one on his back, right in the middle of his shoulder blades, because somebody stabbed him in the back and they hurt his feelings. And it's really... we've all been there. I've been there. I've had people just cut me open, dude. Friends, people that are, I'm with you, dude. They're not. It's 6 months, 12 months, 2 years later. When it's advantageous, they're there. When it's not advantageous, they're not there for you. Same guy, same story. He's going to have a huge scar, 6-inch scar on his chest, the front of his chest. And that's because somebody ripped his heart out. Right? Somebody ripped his heart out in a business partnership or a business friendship, or he was just a friend and somebody ripped his heart out. And that's what we are as entrepreneurs. Like if I put you guys under the light, you guys have all dealt with some crap. You guys have all dealt with life. Family, your wife, your husband, your spouse. I mean, honestly, there's been so many different things that have happened to me that I can laugh and I can cry, both on a dime. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. There's times out there where I'm pounding my steering wheel at 10 o'clock at night, wondering, is this ever going to work? Are we ever going to figure it out? I have fights with my wife, and when you have a 700 square foot apartment, where you go when you're mad at somebody? To the cars. You go to the cars in the parking lot, and you start the car, and you're out there for an hour, and you're upset. I've been there. I've been there a lot. How long could I use that as excuses? Whatever the issue was, the commitment, the knowledge, the self-image, right? How long can you use these things as excuses? Every time I got in a fight with my wife, I said, this is going to be the exact reason I'm going to be a better husband. I'm going to figure out how to stop being stupid. I'm going to figure out how to start being smarter. I'm going to figure out how to be more romantic, more caring, more kind, more affectionate, more compassionate, more helpful, more loving, more just so she knows I'm always there, always stable, always constant. Now, how's Brian feeling today? He's going to throw something against the wall or have a high or a low. Nope. We're going to be consistent. I'm always there for you guys, man. I try. You guys shoot me a DM. 24 hours or less, I got a rule. I get back with you guys. Literally, we get 200 to 500 DMs a day. It takes me an hour to clear out my Instagram. Easily per day. Where do I find the time? Midnight 1, 2. And then some of you guys are night owls. Some of you guys are morning people, and you guys are up at 5, 6 a.m. I wake up to 40, 50 DMs. I clear them all out before like 7:30 before I run out the door. Go pick up Rob. Right? There's so many different days where we can use so many different parts of life. Life is always happening. Can we be honest? You got life happening. I got life happening. Liz and I have had some crazy life happen in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Nothing with us like in our relationship, but we've had life. We've had life. Another story for another time. Devastating, right? And we've tried to stay as positive as possible through all of it. We all have life going on, man. And whether it's a reason or an excuse is going to be dependent on your attitude. What are you going to do? Are you going to man up? Are you going to own up? Are you going to figure it out? Right? How long does it have to keep beating on you to where you have to change? You have to adapt, right? I'm telling you guys what, I do coaching calls. I love the coaching calls because we get intimate. We get to talk one-on-one. We get to break things down. And I get to press you. Hey, man, I want to do this, this, and this, and this. Why haven't you done it yet? Well, I'm like, that's cool, but really, why haven't you done it yet? And you're like, well, actually, I'm a little nervous and I'm a little scared. Okay, cool. Now we're getting to the real stuff. Now we're getting to the real thing. I would give these so topical facade type answers to everybody, dude, for like 4 or 5, the last 3-4 years. So about the last 18, 24 months, I'd give these like facade type answers. I do what you guys do. We put up a wall, put up a front. Bedell's asking me questions. I'm like, you know what, Bedell, I don't know. You take the integer of the 642 cosine tangent with the flux capacitor. And that's how I, do my books, just like you do, right? He's like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know. What, I got to go read like, P&Ls for dummies or something like that. But no, I don't know. And in fact, I'm so uncomfortable with you even asking me pointed questions that I don't even want to talk to you. But I couldn't hide. Bedell wouldn't let me hide. That's what friends do. Friends don't let you stay where you're at. They challenge you to grow. Leaders, mentors, friends, people that are in it through it together with you. We're in the thick of it. We're going to encourage each other to the next level, right? So many different times people would press me for questions. I didn't know. I was afraid. But how long was I going to be incompetent? How long was I going to not know the rule of 28-36, the rule of 72, my finances, my this, my that? All these different things. I was like, you know what? I feel so dumb, so inadequate. So many times. Look, I know you guys are all listening in. You guys probably have it all figured out, straight up. And if you do, like, sincerely, God bless you. You go to the gun range, everybody's smart and intelligent. They look like John Wick, and they're shooting pew-pews and just rocking and rolling. And I go in there, I cock the bolt. I'm ready to rock and roll. I hit the, gun from safety to fire. And what happens? I'm ready to go put one down range and click. Nothing happens and the mag falls out, just drops it onto the floor. And of course, it doesn't fall towards you. It falls into the lane, 2.5 feet. And then you got to get the stupid squeegee tool and you're fishing it out and you look like the idiot. We've all been there. Maybe you guys haven't had that exact same scenario and circumstance, but you look incompetent. You look like a buffoon, especially as a guy. It challenges your ego. You look like an idiot. You feel like an idiot. That's how I felt, at least. I don't know if you guys can feel the same way. 6 weeks later, 6 months later, you go back in there. You got all your tactical gear. You got your lights, your lasers, your optics, all this crazy, stupid stuff. And you go in there, boom, 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 boom. You're all in the same, cluster, the same grouping, 20 yards, 10 yards, 5 yards, 50 yards, right? Everybody starts blind, scared, naked, and ignorant and stupid in this world, right? You come out as a baby. But you know what? I'm not going to let my self-image, these excuses, get in the way of me being effective. I'm going to learn. I'm going to spend time. I'm going to spend money. I'm going to get around good people. And I'm going to learn how to be successful. I am not going to use certain things in life as excuses. I will look at things as reasons to become successful. I have my family counting on me. I have my wife counting on me. I've got a future family. I got future grandkids that are counting on me. I've got churches out there that I know want to put wings on their churches to have a ministry to reach out to kids or homeless people or drug addict people addicted to pornography. There's people out there that I want to make sure that I have money for, that I can give off of the abundance of my income to go help those people out. They don't even know they're building the wing of the ministry yet in 5 years. I know it's coming. I'm going to make money now today to support their future later. Right? We got to start owning it. No more excuses. Get the book, Extreme Ownership. If you guys want to put this one up on Instagram, tag me, repost. If you guys like it, let me know. Leave us some ratings and reviews. You guys know how to do it. If you haven't done it yet, you're not going to. But if you guys are committed to this and if you get an ounce of value out of this podcast or any other episode, you guys owe it to me to put those 5-star ratings and reviews down there. A lot of you guys are coming up, showing up. We appreciate that. That's called true partnership. That's called being a brother. That's called having my back and I got your guys' back. I answer 500 DMs a day, 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month. Man, come on. Help a brother out. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the podcast. But you know what? If you share this episode, you hashtag it no more excuses. Because we are not going to be a weak community. We are not going to be a weak industry. I don't care the circumstances. We deal with more crap than any other industry, arguably. But you know what? I said on the last podcast, you guys are the hardest working group of people I know. You guys are showing up. You guys are butt kickers. You don't make excuses. If something's not coming in, you learn another skill. We pivot. We grow. We succeed. We refocus. We re-energize, and we re-engage. And that's what we're going to do. All right. Guys, that's it on this podcast episode. No more excuses. Let's keep making it happen. You want to call? You want to do a coaching call? We still got some time. Hit me up. Purchase one on Entrepreneur Academy. Let's get in touch. You guys got a question? Shoot me a DM. All you guys that keep encouraging me, we really appreciate it. And thanks for all the prayers. Thanks for all the kind wishes, the warm wishes behind the scenes. And you know what? I love you guys, man. I just get so fired up. I see all the progress that all of you guys have been making. And you know what? I am not top down. I am right in the thick of it with you guys. We are all in this together. If you guys can remember any one thing from this podcast, it's that I believe in you. And if I can write my stars and I can change my life, and I'm still in the process of doing it, you can change your stars too. Okay, you can change your stars too. All right, guys, that's it. We love you.
That is a man on a mission. Thank you, Brian, for helping all of us to see a bigger picture. There's so much more than just paying the bills and living for the weekend. Let me also suggest no more excuses for not getting the whole ball of wax. The price is going to jump on October the 1st as there's a lot of new modules that will be introduced here very shortly at launchpreneuracademy.com. Getting that whole ball of wax is a game changer if you're interested in growing a successful lawn and landscaping business. The current price, $4.99 for just a few more days, and then it's going to jump quite a bit. I recommend you get it now. If you've already purchased it in the past or you purchase it here in the next couple of days, you're going to get free lifetime updates and upgrades, access to anything new that Brian adds there on the website. Don't miss this opportunity. So glad that you tuned in today. Tell a friend about your favorite podcast. It's Fullerton Unfiltered. God bless you guys. We'll see you on the next show.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.